Did you know the world's oldest piece of chewing gum is over 5,000 years old? Imagine chewing on something older than most civilizations. Ever wondered why we say bless you when someone sneezes? It dates back to ancient times when people believed that a sneeze could expel evil spirits from the body. So, saying bless you was a way to protect the sneezer from harm. Talk about a polite exorcism. Here's a mind-boggler. A day on Venus is longer than a year on Venus. Wrap your head around that. A whole year passing by quicker than a single day. Time sure plays tricks in space. You might think you're unique, but did you know that you share about 60% of your DNA with a banana? Suddenly, those banana jokes at family reunions take on a whole new meaning. Speaking of bananas, did you know they're technically berries, but strawberries aren't? It's a fruity conspiracy, I tell you. Ever heard of the Great Emu War? That's right, Australia once went to war against emus and lost. Turns out, those flightless birds are tougher opponents than they look. Imagine having a job title like Chief Trouser Buttoner or Royal Whip Scourger. Back in the day, those were legitimate jobs. I wonder if they had business cards if you're feeling lazy. Just remember, sloths can take up to a month to digest a single meal. Suddenly, taking a few extra minutes to get out of bed doesn't seem so bad, does it? In Japan, there's a museum dedicated entirely to rocks that look like faces. Finally, a place where geology meets art meets sheer absurdity. Octopuses have 3 hearts. Not to be outdone, the human heart is capable of falling in love with at least 3 different flavors of ice cream in one sitting. Priorities, right? The 57 on Heinz ketchup bottles isn't just a random number. It's the number of varieties of pickles the company once had. Talk about ketchup with a side of trivia. Cows are best friends, and they get stressed when they're separated. Looks like we're not the only ones who need our BFFs. Ever heard of poganophobia? It's the fear of beards. So next time you meet someone with a clean-shaven face and a nervous twitch, you'll know why. Before alarm clocks were invented, there were knocker-ups whose job was to wake people up by tapping on their windows with long sticks. Talk about a wake-up call service. And finally, here's a fun fact to ponder. Statistically speaking, you are more likely to be killed by a champagne cork than by a poisonous spider. So, cheers to celebrating life's little ironies. Ever wonder why flamingos are pink? It's not just their fashion sense. It's because they feast on a diet rich in brine shrimp and algae. Talk about eating your way to fabulous in Finland. There's a yearly event called Wife Carrying Championship, where husbands race while carrying their wives. Finally, a sport where being carried away has a literal meaning. Honey never spoils. Archaeologists have found pots of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that are over 3,000 years old and still perfectly edible. Honey, the original forever food. The shortest war in history lasted only 38 minutes between Britain and Zanzibar in 1896. Talk about efficiency. I wonder if they even had time to unpack their weapons. Ever heard of onomatopoeia? It's when words sound like what they mean, like buzz or boom. Suddenly, English class feels like a sound effects workshop. Cleopatra lived closer to the invention of the iPhone than to the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Mind-blowing, right? Wonder what kind of selfies she'd have taken. There's a village in Norway called Hell, and it freezes over regularly. Imagine the headlines, Hell freezes over again. It's not just an expression. The unicorn is Scotland's national animal. No wonder they call it a mythical country. The shortest complete sentence in the English language is I am. Talk about getting straight to the point. Octopuses have beaks like parrots. Suddenly, those talk like a pirate days take on a whole new meaning. The original name for the search engine Google was Backrub. Can you imagine Backrub it instead of Google it? Sounds like something your grandma would say. There's a town in Canada called Dildo. Yes, you heard that right. Wonder what their town's slogan is. Sea otters hold hands while they sleep to keep from drifting apart. Relationship goals. Utterly adorable in Switzerland. It's illegal to own just one guinea pig because they get lonely. Looks like the Swiss take social animals very seriously. The world's oldest known joke is a Sumerian proverb from 1900 BC, which goes, "Something which has never occurred since time immemorial. A young woman did not fart in her husband's lap." Yep, bathroom humor has been around since the dawn of civilization. Bananas are berries, but strawberries aren't. Clearly, the fruit kingdom has some serious identity issues. There are more possible iterations of a game of chess than there are atoms in the known universe. Suddenly, losing at chess doesn't seem so bad, it's practically a cosmic event. Banging your head against a wall burns 150 calories an hour. Gym memberships are overrated, just head to the nearest wall. Rats laugh when they're tickled. Who knew rodents had such a good sense of humor? A group of flamingos is called a flamboyance. Well, of course, they would have a fabulous collective noun. The inventor of the frisbee was turned into a frisbee after he died. Talk about a fitting tribute. The shortest war in history lasted only 38 minutes between Britain and Zanzibar in 1896. Talk about getting it over with quickly. Banging your head against a wall burns 150 calories an hour. Who needs the gym when you have walls? An octopus has 3 hearts. 1 for pumping blood and 2 for falling in love. Talk about multitasking. The electric chair was invented by a dentist. Suddenly, going to the dentist seems a lot scarier. Cats have 5 toes on their front paws, but only for on their back ones. Must be their way of keeping the mystery alive. The shortest war in history lasted only 38 minutes between Britain and Zanzibar in 1896. That's less time than it takes some people to decide what to order at a restaurant. Honey never spoils. Archaeologists have found pots of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that are over 3,000 years old and still perfectly edible. Talk about sweet preservation. The shortest war in history lasted only 38 minutes between Britain and Zanzibar in 1896. They probably spent more time declaring war than actually fighting it in Switzerland. It's illegal to own just one guinea pig because they get lonely. Looks like even the law believes in the power of friendship.